Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Now, some new information has come to light about the stimulus negotiations in the past 30 minutes and I wanted to report it to you, my community, right away. And also some really interesting comments from former House Speaker John Boehner about what's likely to happen to the stimulus depending on the outcome of the elections. Remember, this is a former Speaker of the House, so this is someone who knows how DC works. So let's just jump right into what's going on. As you know, and I did report this earlier on my channel, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin are continuing to narrow their differences. This was a comment from Drew Hamill, who's a Pelosi spokesperson today. Time is running out because tomorrow was a deadline as far as Speaker Pelosi was concerned. Now, I just want to be clear. It was really crucial to make something happen. It still is crucial to make something happen. But ironically, we just found out that the US Treasury Secretary has extended his trip in the United Arab Emirates. Now, remember, this is a government official on an overseas trip, presumably on government business. I haven't looked into exactly what his business is. I'm sure you can look that up if you want. But, he's out there while he's supposed to be the lead negotiator to help millions of Americans get aid. And I guess this is the use of, this is taxpayer dollars at work, I suppose. So I just want to be clear that he has extended his trip and he's going to be in Doha tomorrow and he's not scheduled to be back stateside until Wednesday. This is the US Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. And Drew Hamill did say that the Speaker continues to hope that by the end of the day, Tuesday, we will have clarity on whether we'll be able to pass a bill before the election. House Speaker Pelosi did tell Democrats that significant areas of disagreement are standing in the way of any deal, according to a conference call that she conducted with Democratic colleagues. And Democrats have resisted giving up their priorities on local governments, workers, schools, and healthcare. And basically what's happening right now as we speak is that Democratic committee chairmen are working hand in hand with Republican committee chairmen in the Senate on coming up with a solution. This is the way things work. This is the way laws are written, and this is the process. So this is a good thing. But the lead negotiator is not going to be stateside for the next 48 hours. The president has said some pretty unusual things in the past 24 to 48 hours. He was actually in an interview today with reporters where he said some things where he basically expressed his dissatisfaction with Dr. Fauci and a whole bunch of other officials. So, the president is doing a lot of rallies, is doing a lot of campaign events because, he wants to get re-elected in 2 weeks. So things are a little bit scattered, to put it mildly, at the moment. And what's happening right now is that Republican lawmakers are working, like I said, with Democratic lawmakers. And President Trump did say that if his administration did reach an agreement with the Democrats, he would lean on congressional Republicans to, I quote, come along. The president said this to reporters in Arizona. We're discussing it today very solidly. The president of the United States. We're discussing it today very solidly. We'll see what happens. Nancy Pelosi at the moment does not want to do anything that's going to affect the election. And I think it will affect the election negatively for her. So they are still pretty far apart. I've covered the differences in other videos on our channel, but the president has said he's ready to match the $2.2 trillion spending level demanded by Democrats or go higher. But the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has been very cryptic in his support for something like this. And the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said today, and I'm quoting him, "American families deserve for us to agree where we can, make law and push huge amounts of money out the door while Washington continues arguing over the rest. It's what the country needs." These are the words of the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And tomorrow, on Tuesday, the Senate is going to have a standalone bill to use unused money, which is left over from the CARES Act, to try and re-energize the Paycheck Protection Program. And on Wednesday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell plans to proceed with a broader package. And the Democrats are saying that is simply not sufficient. I've mentioned that is likely to be more of a symbolic vote than anything else. And his last attempt to do something similar to this was a month ago in September, and it was blocked. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said today, the Republican proposal was unacceptable a month ago. These are words from the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The Republican proposal was unacceptable a month ago. It remains unacceptable now, even more so that the crisis has gotten even worse. These are words from the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. And the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, meanwhile, said that if House Speaker Pelosi and the administration get an agreement with Democrats, I'm quoting White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows now. He said, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will bring it or to the floor, it will get a vote, and hopefully we'll get stimulus on the way to the American people. His position and the president's position, as you can see, is the same. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has made no such pledge like this publicly. And a lot of forecasters are saying that it's unlikely that something will happen before the election. Also, here's a tweet on your screen from Jake Sherman about a comment from GOP whip, Republican whip John Thune. John Thune was asked, do you think there would be 13 Republican votes for a $1.8 trillion package? And Thune replied for 1.8. And he was asked that or higher. And he replied, yeah, it would. It would be hard. So I've seen a lot of comments from our viewers and subscribers saying, hey, you know, we will get 13 Republican votes for a $1.8 trillion stimulus. But you heard it from the GOP whip, John Thune. And he said that, I quote, it would be hard. And so, you know, it's not looking very good right now. Also on your screen, you'll see a new article from the Washington Post. And the headline of the article reads, Trump and Pelosi exchange attacks as stimulus deal remains elusive. One senior House Democrat said that not a single Democrat would vote for the White House's latest deal. So if any of my viewers and subscribers are hoping for something to happen magically in the next 24 hours, listen, nothing is impossible. But at the moment, there doesn't seem to be a lot of optimism about this. And this is the article on your screen from the Washington Post. It reads, House Democrats and the Trump administration remain far apart Monday, which is today, in economic relief negotiations, and a resolution looks unlikely ahead of the Tuesday night deadline set by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. In fact, the president himself seemed to downplay chances for an outcome. And the president told reporters today, Nancy Pelosi at this moment does not want anything that's going to affect the election. These are the words of the president. And I think it will affect the election negatively for her. So we'll see what happens. No love lost clearly between House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the president. And House Speaker Pelosi said something that was very interesting. I've never heard House Speaker Pelosi speak like that before. In fact, I've never heard anyone speak like that before. The speaker on a call today said, and I quote, listen guys, I couldn't make up this stuff even if I wanted to. Like I said, this is the DC comedy hour, so be prepared for something that you've probably never heard before in your life. The House Speaker said this. She insisted that she did want to pass legislation before the election, saying that House Speaker Pelosi said she did not want to carry, I quote, the droppings of this grotesque elephant into the next presidency. The droppings of this grotesque elephant into the next presidency. House Speaker Pelosi said she wants stimulus before the election, according to one person who was on the call. Quite an interesting comment. And House Speaker Pelosi did speak on the phone for nearly an hour with the US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, and the two continued to narrow their differences. I did report that earlier. And the Tuesday deadline was set by Speaker Pelosi on a Sunday talk show. So she actually did it yesterday. And she said that if no agreement was reached before Tuesday night, then it would not be possible to get legislation passed before the election, which is 2 weeks from now. And, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens. The stock market in the meantime did go down today because hopes of stimulus are fading quickly. To add to that, US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has extended his overseas trip. He's not coming back tomorrow. He's going to come back Wednesday. And you've probably seen this in another video, but here are some pictures from US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin in the United Arab Emirates. He was supposed to come back Tuesday. And as you can see from the pictures, he's probably on official business in the United Arab Emirates, but he was supposed to come back on Tuesday tomorrow. But now new data suggests that he has extended his trip by a day. He'll stay in Doha for a day, and then he'll come back. He'll come back stateside on Wednesday. That is where things stand right now. A lot of disagreements still continue. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is not budging. He's going to be proposing two bills that I've talked about earlier already. I just want to be clear, Senate Democrats did block the same legislation last month. Now, I want to be clear, if the Senate Democrats are not on board, the $1.8 trillion package, 1.8, 1.9, whatever, if they're not on board with that package, they're not going to support the $500 billion package that the Senate Majority Leader is bringing to the floor. So that vote as well is going to be nothing more than a symbolic vote. And Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, said that there was no way that was going to go anywhere. Right now, it looks like if there is a deal, it's not going to make its way through the Senate, based on these cryptic and these non-specific comments from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And he said the Senate would, of course, consider it. I don't know if consider it is the same thing as putting a vote on the floor of the Senate. And President Trump did not say whether he had spoken with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, but he did say that if a deal was reached, Republicans would come along. That is the status. That is the status of where things are right now. In other news, there were some comments from John Boehner, former Speaker of the House, John Boehner, who said that if President Trump got re-elected, then the chances of a quick stimulus, a smaller stimulus after the election were very likely. But if there's a blue wave, in other words, if former Vice President Joe Biden becomes president and Democrats take control of the Senate, they would want to do a larger stimulus, but they would not be able to do it until post-inauguration, until after January 20th. So based on the way the cards are stacked right now, we could be looking at a small stimulus post-election if the president wins, or we could see a large stimulus, a significant stimulus that could happen in February or March of next year. This would be, hopefully it won't be a case of too little too late, because right now what's happening is cases are rising in many states. What's also happening is we're seeing some individuals get this illness for the second time, which is absolutely shocking. I remember the first incidence of this illness, COVID, being reported. I believe it was in California. I believe it was in March. And at that time, it was sort of one news headline that popped up. And then after that, our whole world changed. But now the headlines that are popping up are the cases are actually increasing in different parts of the country, and some individuals are getting it a second time. On top of that, if we don't get stimulus, this could be a very, very brutal winter. I want my viewers and subscribers to be prepared. I'm here to give you the latest news. I work hard to give you the latest news. I'm just asking you to be prepared. You guys who've been following my channel, you know that I give you the honest truth. I don't hold anything back. So please be prepared for what could be a long winter post-election. If you appreciate my efforts, all I ask is that you please click like, you click subscribe, you enable notifications so you get instant updates from us going forward. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you learned something new from this video, please consider typing out a comment below. Become a part of our growing community. Again, my name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. If you don't know anything about me, check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. Get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000. You'll get added to our SMS alerts list. You can also, if you want, get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts. You'll get added to our email list. Now, you can opt out of our SMS list or our email list at any point in time that you want. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. That's our Instagram handle. So make sure you follow us there. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is ignition_time as well. Keep in mind, sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications immediately. So simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition_time. That's youtube.com/ignition_time. And then you'll be able to visit our homepage, watch the videos at any point in time that you want without having to depend on YouTube notifications. Once again, if you learn something new, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Your vote of confidence in us is you sharing this video with friends and family. You can find all our resources in the description section below. And finally, please comment below if you have any questions or thoughts about this video. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.